New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler joins me now. Congressman, good to see you. Give me a bet from your perspective, the likelihood of a full government shutdown later this week.
Well, it's entirely up to Chuck Schumer, Major, and he seems to be barreling us right towards one. You know, this is a man who, during his career, has continually voted for CRs, has repeatedly lectured America about the need to keep government funded and open and the consequences of failing to do so. And yet here we are, and he is leading us down the precipice of a shutdown, which will impact not only the economy and our markets, but impact Americans who rely on the social safety net, those serving in our military, our first responders, our border security. These are quotes from Democrats for years telling everybody that this is why we can't shut down the government, and yet here they are refusing to pass the CR that House Republicans passed last week that is clean funding and keeps us open and operating through November 21st.
A CR means continuing resolution. It is what happens when Congress has not passed any appropriations bill or an insufficient number. Congressman, you know better than I do. Congress hasn't sent one appropriations bill of the 13 to President Trump's desk. Republicans own that failure. Why aren't you at least partially complicit in this?
Well, first of all, for over 30 years, Congress has not passed appropriations bills on time and individually.
I know, but I listened very carefully when you guys were campaigning for the majority that you would do it in a better, more efficient, more productive way.
Yep. And that's something that I and others continue to be working through. And it's why the Appropriations Committee has passed all 13 resolutions and appropriations packages. The Senate is working through theirs. We would like to get it done, and we would like to obviously pass all 13 individually as opposed to one big omnibus bill. But in the interim, with government funding slated to expire tomorrow, there is absolutely zero reason to allow the government to shut down. Just because we didn't pass all of the appropriations bills does not mean that you shut the government down. And Democrats have repeatedly said that. They have repeatedly voted for clean CRs when they've been in control and when they haven't been in control. The only difference here is that Donald Trump is president and Chuck Schumer is petrified of a primary from AOC. And so now he has a very different posture when it comes to keeping the government funded and open.
Where do you stand, Congressman Lawler, on extending the Obamacare or Affordable Care Act subsidies that were created in the American Rescue Plan, extended in the Inflation Reduction Act? By the numbers I've seen, if they are not extended by the end of this calendar year, on average, premiums could go up for those who would obtain the subsidies by 75%, 90% for Americans in rural parts of our country. And there might be as much as a 50% decline in marketplace enrollment. Are you okay with those stats?
Well, obviously, affordability is the number one issue, and it's why we passed the tax bill. The average New Yorker, for instance, is going to see a $4,000 tax cut. So I'm acutely aware of the challenges with affordability. It's why I've signed on to legislation to extend the ACA subsidy that was put in place during COVID. I've signed on to legislation to extend that by a year. I am very open to negotiation on this, including the potential of an income phase out. But the fact is that this is something that will be negotiated as part of a final appropriations package. To shut the government down would seem to hurt the very people that you're trying to help. And that's where I just think this whole idea of trying to tie all of this together and tie up keeping the government funded and open is illogical and short-sighted. So, look, I support extending it. It's just a question of how it's done, and you negotiate that.
Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine said today he could vote for a clean CR, meaning a continuing resolution, if there were assurances from the White House in writing that this matter of the Obamacare subsidies would be dealt with and dealt with in a serious legislative way. What did that tell you?
Look, I think some of my Democratic colleagues are looking for an off-ramp. I think they realize that it's an untenable position to shut the government down and is not going to go well once it is shut down. And so I think they're looking for an off-ramp. If that's the off-ramp they need, I'm already on record supporting extending it. So certainly, I've been encouraging the White House to that. But again, that's going to be part of a broader negotiation on the fiscal year 26 approach. If that's what Tim Kaine and others need, fine. But let's keep the government open and funded.
New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler. Appreciate the time, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Major.